What's up, everyone? This week we got part 2 of the In Control interview. And the first time we had our good friend Aaron Belchere interview us. This time we had our friend Fernando Hernandez interview us. And it was good to have a different perspective. Aaron was in the van with us on the first tour. And me and Ryan and Aaron have all been friends since elementary school, junior high, around that time. So yeah, this is a little bit more of an outside perspective, but someone that's been associated with Oxnard for a long time interviewing us. We'll consider this one part 2. I'm hoping to bring Aaron back in and do like a part 3, have a fun episode. Yeah, I hope you enjoy. If you want to support the podcast, please like, rate, review, subscribe, share it with all your friends on social media. Call up your friends, tell them, hey, have you heard this podcast? 185 miles south is fucking tight. If you want to go the extra mile, go to patreon.com/185 miles south. Become a contributor. And those are my personal heroes. I look at the list once in a while, and I'm like, fuck, man, I really appreciate the support. That makes this possible to do. Because, you know, instead of losing hundreds of dollars a month, I'm only losing maybe 100. So if you want to do a one-time donation, you can go to paypal.me/185 miles south. And that is much appreciated as well. Again, shout out Mike Mall, shout out Fred Hammer, shout out to the guys that rock it that way. I hope you enjoy this episode, and thank you for all the support.
"185 Miles South", a hardcore punk rock podcast.
Oh yeah.
We're in.
Are we going?
Yeah. So I'm handing this podcast off to Fernando. He can introduce himself.
All right, cool. So my name's Fernando Hernandez, born and raised in Oxnard, part of like the Oxnard hardcore scene from like what 90s, whatever, middle school to
What
like.
street did you grow up on?
Oh, Ginger Street and Gonzales Road, man. That
Gonzales.
was it. Gonzales, and did a couple of fanzines too at Oxnard. Played in a couple of bands too, of EYO, and then recently one Marron, which is like kind of for any Swizz fans out there. Hit me up. Not a lot, I think.
Hey!
That's cool. Swizz is cool.
So I had a little thing to contextualize the city because I think like the podcast, the theme is obviously around Oxnard, right? And I think it's really cool what In Control did and how, I mean, lyrically, and I wrote that in here in the notes, like, and in terms of the imagery and a lot of things that you guys talked about, that was at the core, right? And I think that a lot of people, I don't know if everybody knows around the country and everybody who checks out the podcast, like, for those of us that are from here, it's a big deal because you mentioned in the other podcast with Ryan how Oxnard was kind of a satellite scene. And that's true. It was a satellite scene, but at the same time, like, it's this history, right, in Oxnard that's like rural, urban, agricultural, and like beach, right? So it's this really interesting thing. And the strawberry and the agricultural complex is like the thing that everybody knows all over the world. Like the Joe Rivas story, right? Like strawberries or was it?
Oh, yeah.
So then like
Cesar Chavez.
yeah, and so like for like the cultural production that we have, like we produce all this badass shit. Like you think like, oh, who's gonna do some shit in this town? But like look at what happened with Oxnard hardcore. Like we have the Hernandez brothers, but then there's like all this other rich history of like boxing, like the hip hop. And I think that what In Control did to put that into context is that in this era where I guess it had kind of went, I don't want to say it died because it never really dies, but you kind of like that resurgence, right? And you did those US tours, those LPs on like, you could say they were like, you know, big labels, you know, for that time to like Indecision, Martyr. And I think that that's kind of where I wanted to start. And then going to like what it meant, right? Like people like, I mean, what small town in another state, you know, has done kind of what we done, you know? And I don't know, I don't want to compare and, you know, like
Shout out Marshalltown, Iowa.
But
Modern Life is
Oxnard's,
War. What's up?
I mean, Oxnard's like, I think it's
Well,
special.
I think we got lucky. You know, we grew up in a city that always was famous for. We always had fans. There was always, even when I was a kid, Ventura County was always popular for having like a lot of punk rock fans. If there's a punk rock band coming to our city, it was going to be packed. 300 kids might not seem a lot to most people, but to us, that was a big show.
Yeah, yeah.
And a lot of movement, a lot of action, you know?
And so going into that, like that we had this like pedigree, right? How was it? And I know you kind of talked about it, Ryan, and like Zach. I feel like I've heard like sporadic podcasts. I haven't heard every single one, but how was it?
Get on that.
You guys. How was it, or where did you guys grow up? Because whenever I've interviewed bands, I always like to go like, where are you guys from? And I mean, obviously you're from Oxnard, but what part of Oxnard? What, like you asked the street, right? Like, you know, where did you guys grow up? And
Silver Strand Beach, Sunset Drive.
Yeah.
you
Silver
two-
Strand Beach, Pasadena Avenue.
And what about the other guys that eventually were also
Well, let's
in
see.
control?
Chris Holden, his
North Side.
His dad his dad also owned Pat Holden's Liquor.
Shout out to
Yeah.
the North Side.
Our first,
Which I
our first
worked
bass
at.
player, his grandpa was Pat Holden.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
what?
Pat Holden.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, badass.
Yeah, I worked there too. That was
They
fun.
got robbed like 3 times a year.
I was like, I'm out of here, man. The cameras, well, because the cameras were fake. I
Oh,
was
they were
like,
fake.
oh, fuck this. And his dad would like be
Jesus.
yelling at fucking Vatos and shit. I was just like, dude, this is sketchy as shit.
It's part of our city.
No, so
Yep.
the impetus of In Control was, you had like the big bands in the '80s that put like Oxnard on the map and Nardcore on the map, and then you had like a downtime in the late '80s, and then in the early '90s, in the mid '90s, a bunch of bands popped up, and these were big influences on us. The Birding Dogs and the Clenched Fists and the FAYs.
Missing 23rd.
Missing 23rd. You know, might as well lump in No Motive as well.
Yep.
But a lot of bands from the area, and they were really good, but no one like went out and like toured. And so like we wanted to like go and put it back on the map. By the time No Motive toured, they had changed their sound. And by the time Missing 23rd played, by the time they went and toured was much later also.
Yeah.
I don't think they toured until after the first LP, probably.
I think after
I think way after.
that
Which is like-
Sessions, that Sessions
The
records,
Sessions one?
Yeah.
So like we'd already done another year by then. So basically, Nardcore never died. And there was lots of really, really good underrated bands in the 90s. But we wanted to like get it back out there that it was here. And also, when we were coming up, the scene was like kind of divided. And we were actually more like we're Oxnard hardcore bands. Like we didn't. It was weird to take the label because no one had like given it to us, you know, like, and we were kind of playing a different type of music. There was a big rift between like Ventura and Oxnard at the time, unfortunately, which had nothing to do with us. And so we kind of built our own thing on the side with my bands like Voice of Defiance and then Standing Ground. And by the time In Control came around, we're like, well, we've been participating in this thing long enough. We've been a part of this like resurgence of like bringing it kind of back to popularity, and like now I feel that I deserve to be able to wear the name. So we're gonna take the name Nardcore and we're gonna put it back on the map. That's it. Like we were paying our dues for years of like not touching that word because I didn't feel like it was ours, and then In Control was like, it is ours.
Well, we put in our work. I mean, we didn't just start a band. Like, oh, I want to be the singer. No, we went to shows every weekend, no matter what.
You
Even on a weekday.
set up shows, put out bands.
Yeah, we're active
Flyers,
participants.
everything.
I did a zine.
Always try, yeah.
Yeah, always try. That's right.
I still got that shirt, by the way.
That shirt is sick.
It's too large for me.
So then, going like I guess now it can go in that direction, but then I feel like I remember you've shared the story of how you kind of got into hardcore and punk, and you've shared it before. Do you want to go into that? Because I remember I don't want to drop it with that. Like, I mean, I remember it was
most of the
being
stories
cool.
are the same. So me and Ryan always gagged that Jeff Hershey stole his entry to punk rock story. Like, oh, I borrowed a tape from so and so, and that's how I got into it. And so me and Ryan always joke about it because it's funny that Jeff Hershey straight up stole Ryan's punk rock story.
That's like my real story.
But I think what Ryan fails to know is that's a pretty universal story because it happened to me too.
Yeah.
And so I was way into music when I was like a kid, because I'm an only child, so I have like lots of time alone. I have a really small family, and so I would be like way into like Motley Crue and Poison and shit when I was like when I was in like, I don't know, I started probably liking my own music when I was in like fourth grade or some shit.
Yeah, about that time.
Right, and so like inevitably you start moving more towards like Metallica and then Slayer, and then that early 90s death metal shit hits like right when I'm like 12 and shit. So it's like get into that, and then someone plays me Bad Religion Suffer, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, it's so mind-blowing for something to have like the melody of like a Poison, but like the intensity of like metal, like, you know, Slayer. You know, it's like, what do you can't, I mean, that's pretty fucked up for Bad Religion, right? Like, you're the mix between Slayer and Poison. So, but you know, also in a 13-year-old brain, everything is oversimplified, and like that's what it sounded to me. It was like, oh my god, this is the most perfect music, and I was, you know, at that time listening to like heavy metal, everything is so like easy to hear. You know, like you can hear all the kick drums, the snare, all the shit. And I just remember like listening to Suffer and trying to like listen to the bass drum, and I was like, what the fuck is this wild man doing? Like, it doesn't seem like he has any rhyme or reason, like what he's doing on the kick drum. It's like, you know, I was like, what the fuck? This is just wild. Like, it was my favorite music ever. I mean, I remember hearing Do What You Want and like playing it 20 times in a row. And like, and people don't understand that like the cassette era, playing a song like 20 times in a row, it's like, you rewind
Stop,
it.
rewind.
Yeah,
Rewind.
you go too far, and then you didn't go far enough, and it's like it's not just playing like press play, press play, press play. It's like, dude, like that song was so game changing to me that it's like I listened to it like the entire night, and which is amazing because the whole record's fucking great. It's still one of my most favorite albums. I listen to it all the time, but like that one song, it was like, how is there something so gnarly and so catchy and so melodic, but so like fast and infectious and everything? It's like I just have to listen to a single fucking song over and over.
Do What You Want was on
Suffer.
Suffer? Mm-hmm. It wasn't on No Control?
Correct.
Oh, shit.
It was on Suffer.
I got a funny story for you. My first bands were actually Jimi Hendrix, Jethro Tull, and Led Zeppelin. That's because my mom forced them down my throat, and I did like them a lot. But the first punk rock band that I heard was The Descendants, and they were a SoCal punk rock band. And the first song I heard was Bike Age. It's like, okay, I'm in, and that was like 1994, I think, or 92.
So what schools did you go? Because I'm thinking, I like to put it in context, like your kids, but like what are your peers into, or what are the friends that you start to meet that kind of have those similar interests? Because it obviously look at where you are now with bands and the networks, but at what point do you meet like middle school or high school? Or
well, I've known Ryan since elementary school.
Me and Zach were in elementary school together, and he had a band called Purveyors of Pestilence.
This isn't until that's not until we go to Holly Beach School, and then we go to EO Green.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So we were like 12, 13, 14, and he started a metal band, and we would always go to their shows. They only had like
always. We played two shows.
House show and
we played
the show with the Wayne Naval Base.
That's right. We played Eric Fisher's like attic, and then we played on the Navy base because our drummer's dad was the admiral.
Oh damn!
So he rented out some fucking hall for us. But that was like the last time we ever played because I cussed a lot on stage, and like they're like, "Oh, you can't be in a band like this," like, you know. Hey, you're fucking 13. I was like, oh, fucking A. Like, all I listened to at that time was fucking the Slayer live record. You know, the double disc? What is that?
Decade of Aggression.
Yeah, Decade of Aggression. It's like...
I know that record very well.
Yeah.
I recorded that record, and I actually edited out all the solos.
That's how much Ryan hates guitar solos. He edited out every single solo on a double live CD.
It was a big CD, too.
Yeah.
And where are you guys buying... Where are you guys getting this music? I mean...
Well, there's the warehouse. Like there was at Centerpoint Mall. I remember like my grandma would come. This is like back when I got into Motley Crue. She'd come into town and we'd take the bus because the bus still went to Silver Strand at that time. We'd take the bus from Silver Strand to Centerpoint Mall, and she let me buy one cassette. And so the first cassette I got was like, I can't remember if it was Shout at the Devil or Dr. Feelgood, because I got the the other one the next time, you know. But yeah, we'd take the bus out to Centerpoint.
That's funny because When I went to Warehouse, it was actually next to the Carriage Square movie theater. It was on the C Street and
Oh yeah, that's
it was C Street, Oxnard Boulevard, I think, or Gonzales.
Gonzales
yeah.
and
Gonzales and Oxnard Boulevard. Yeah, it was right next to C Street.
And
but
then,
I never went to that Warehouse where Zach went.
Yeah, that's the original, man.
Why you scared, fool?
So then you mentioned, I feel like there was a lot of territory that's somewhat been covered, but you guys ended up going to Oxnard High, right?
Yeah.
Both of you? You went too? So then...
I'm 1 year older than Ryan, so I went to the old Oxnard High School my freshman year.
We were born in the same
and
year.
that was the shit. Old Oxnard High was the fucking shit. I can't believe like all the stuff that would happen there. Like, I don't know, like they gave up because it was the final year, you know? But like it was just like way more lawless.
Yeah.
Like we used to just smoke weed on the field and they didn't care.
They didn't give a shit.
Because they thought it was
There
just
no
they
cop
thought
on campus.
well they thought it was like
Yeah.
15-year-olds smoking cigarettes. So they're like, fuck it.
Oh,
And it was like
geez.
it's like all that shit was just like wild, and that campus was so big, you know, like you couldn't watch everyone. Where like when they moved to the new
new
Nard
one.
High, it's like this is a little fucking prison, dude.
They knew
You
what
know?
they were. They finally figured it out.
But I still snuck out.
They had the
There was
trees
always a
on both
cop on the
sides.
campus at all times with a gun. But when my brother was a freshman, he said every day they would have to get on a bench and they would just stand still because all the essays and the homies would just start brawling, and it was just fucking like, dude, high school was fucking scary back then. When my dad was in high school, it was just the same thing, but he was a big football player. He didn't have nothing to worry about.
When did you guys end up graduating then from there? Because I feel that like that era. So when I was writing about this and thinking about it, I don't know. I can't stop thinking about like. I guess my mind goes directly to when I kind of discovered you guys and when like that was on my radar, which was like
What
Stand Your
year?
Ground. Oh man, this was like
97?
there was a show that there was like a benefit memorial show for somebody. That
Oh, the Ray
passed away.
Hughes Memorial.
Yeah, and then that was Stand Your Ground. But then I remember, man, I feel like you know what had happened right recently, you know, with Robert and everything. I know that was my like direct connection because we had, I don't know how we met like in middle school, and then he was the one that put me on to In Control, and like I don't know how it all happened, right? But he put me onto that, and I remember we used to go to his house and listen to the demo, like a lot, man. And then when everybody started converging there, because I was like the place, around I don't know when, like the 7-inch in the demo, that was like I don't know that to me the way I want to go into this is like that 7-inch to me is like a seminal like record of that era because I feel there was like the No Reply EP, the Life's Halt EP, the Fields of Fire EP, the In Control EP, and the Carry On EP, and I feel like I don't know like how far apart they were from each other, but that was like this like these were the bands that like everything moved
I
through
see
you
where
guys.
you're coming from. We were all connected.
And so like when I think of that record for us for the county, it's like dude,
That was like Southern California hardcore. Even though
Well, to answer your first question, Ryan graduated Oxnard High School in 1999. I graduated I graduated Silver Strand High in 1998 on independent study.
dude, that's the best.
But yeah, so the Life's Halt 7-inch predates all that. That was like 98. That's earlier.
yeah,
I don't remember when the Carry On the Line is Drawn is. That's probably like right around then also.
it was like 98, 99.
It's like 98-ish.
Yeah, about then.
The In Control 7-inch isn't until the year 2000. And Fields of Fire is right in line with us. Like, their timeline lines up.
Because it just seemed like that.
It's only within 2 years.
And
Right? And we're friends with all those guys. Like, that's why it was easy. It wasn't, nothing's easy. But when In Control started, it was very easy for us to get Southern California shows all over. Because, like Ryan said, we'd been going to shows for years. Like, we were
we knew everybody.
Yeah, we were friends and fans of all those bands you mentioned. Like, we went to like every Life's Halt show. I mean, we saw them when they just had the demo out, like before they had
At
fans.
the Bullocks.
No, that was actually after. I think the first time we saw them was at what was Chain Reaction before Chain Reaction?
Oh, it was called Public Storage.
Public Storage. Remember? And like they just played, and it was like a cyclone. And it just ended when the drummer like destroyed his drums.
His drums.
Yeah. It was like, what the fuck? That was our first drummer. He didn't play on the 7-inch. I can't remember the
I don't remember his name. Fuck.
Their drummer was so good. But yeah, Sorry to cut you off.
Oh, no. Go ahead.
I got a funny story for you. Okay. When we did our demo, right? This is the first time I've ever been in a studio in my life, right? And we're just doing the Nardcore intro. Like, N.
Yeah.
A.
The Nartro.
R. The Nartro. And I fuck up and I say something when everybody else is quiet. There's like 8 of us around the mic. And Max is in the studio and goes, hey, step into my office. And I said, why? Because you're fucking fired. And it was so embarrassing. But that was like, okay, now I get it. Like, all right. You actually have to like work to be in a band.
But you guys like were so what I'm saying is like you had laid this foundation because a lot of hardcore is establishing networks, and you guys really like I feel like that's really like kind of overlooked sometimes. And when you talked a lot about putting in the work, you guys how many shows did you guys go to? Because I remember like Robert and all these guys and Milo would tell me you guys were going like all over.
The time. All the time. I mean, it was a passion. It was my life.
We used to go to Santa Cruz and then come home and not sleep and then go to school that morning.
Yeah, or we'd go see Built to Last in San Diego and come home the same night.
Yeah.
So it's like we literally spent 7 hours in a car to go see like one band.
Yeah.
Like that's fucking psycho.
We did that a lot.
And
I mean, weekend after weekend or during the week even. Fuck, man. I mean, we
And how much of a role did that play eventually in like with the success of the band? Because I guess it's something that starts to build up, right? And how many like what shows did you guys set up? Because I know you guys were involved in that. Like, what bands did you guys bring? Did you guys?
Oh,
have
like the
people
Laser
come
Star
through?
stuff?
Yeah.
Todd did like the East Coast bands. He did 97A. He did
In My Eyes.
In My Eyes. I don't think any of us did. I can't remember who did that. That was the very first one.
That was like the first one.
That was like before there was a stage or anything. But he brought out Floor Punch.
I fronted that bill.
What do you mean?
I paid $300 to pay Floor Punch, and I got paid back at the end of the night.
Oh, okay.
And I was nervous about that too.
That's funny. I brought out Funeral Oration.
Oh yeah.
I did. I did that. What was it? It was like Buried Alive, Reach the Sky.
Yeah, Reach the Sky, Buried Alive, Scott Vogel,
All Out War.
All Out War.
Yeah,
that's right.
I don't know. It was a long time ago.
There was like 5 bands that played that bill actually.
There was a lot of bands. Yeah, because the Burden was down at that time from Vancouver.
Hey, they were cool guys too.
And I think Committed was out too from Cleveland. It was like, a bunch of bands converging on a show with 30 people. The summer of '99 was actually really rough, and because that was this, I mean, it could have been anything. We talked about it on some other pod, but Standing Ground had broken up, and In Control didn't start until October. And I don't know if there not being like a big local band that summer mattered or not, or if it was summertime and like it's harder to flyer because like the main thing we would do is flyer Oxnard High School, to get kids out. So it might have just been a coincidence that I was like, that somehow like all these shows that were really poorly attended ended up being like one summer, But that felt like it was really dead that summer because even the 97A was the biggest show, and there was like 70 people.
But the next year, though, I remember Laser Star was like the happening place to go. I mean, I saw kids the next year after I got out of high school wearing our shirts. And every Laser Star show would have like 300 kids.
Well, Laser Star
was everywhere, man.
There wasn't a long run after that because In Control played the final Laser Star show. Our first show was the last
99.
Laser Star show.
Yeah, it was October 7th.
Yeah, so it was like October something of 99. So it's like they tanked that summer, the shows, and then like, our first show and the last Laser Star show was a couple hundred people.
So did we have a local venue? I guess Pat's Warehouse? Was there a local venue?
Well, that didn't come until like probably a year or so later.
Yeah,
that's why in the year 2000 we got really lucky that our second bass player Micah had a van, because we played San Diego all the time. We played PCH all the time. We played Headline Records.
Yep.
And then we'd play anything. So we're playing house shows, whatever the fuck ever. We have a list of all the shows. So
I almost got fired from my job because I kept going on all these shows on Friday and Saturday nights.
Let me see it, Ryan.
Here, this is the first page, right? Worldwide. Worldwide. Sacto, baby.
Yeah, our second show ever was Sacramento.
So then that's funny because as I'm thinking about like
This is not the first page. This is 01. Dude, give me the fucking stack.
No, the first page is
I
our
just
second
have the
show was
stack?
worldwide, West Coast worldwide.
Yeah. Well, it's all backwards.
Oh.
So yeah.
No, it should be.
I just said hand me the fucking stack.
God damn it! Can I say that on the podcast?
I think you can. Yeah, see, we're playing. Oh, Cobalt. Forgot about that.
The Cobalt Cafe.
Yeah, and then Jerry's Pizza, Bakersfield. So if you think about that, that's 5 steady spots. With Shea, PCH,
then Ojai
Headline
comes later.
Ojai comes later. Past Warehouse comes later. Yeah. Pickle Patch also.
Of course.
So that's still going. It's on the very
Galetas,
tail
Santa
end of
Barbara,
that. And then, I mean, it takes a while. And you still have the living room going there, too.
Man.
So it's like there's a lot of fucking opportunities, but none in Oxnard proper. So all that is
They were
outside
all
of
like
Oxnard.
But we had like a 60-mile radius. In fact, we actually had a San Diego to San Francisco radius, if you think about it.
Not San Francisco.
We would go up there.
I know, but if he's talking about the start, we didn't go up there until we played with Kill Your Idols and we played to 0 people.
Me and Belchere got arrested out of high school because we were going to the Powerhouse show.
What happened?
We were in
What was
Oxnard
the
High
reason?
School, and me and Aaron got arrested because the cop shows up. It's like, what are you guys not in class for? It's like, oh, we're going to Oakland to see Powerhouse. The cop's like,
said that?
get in the car. And Belchere looks at me and goes, why the fuck did you say that, man?
He didn't like Powerhouse, man. What the hell? So with that.
Yeah. He's like, you fucking kids.
So as you guys, so you had the Nardcore bands, right, that you guys were eventually into, but then one thing that I always noticed, and I feel like you guys were ahead of the curve of this, like, and Zach, I feel like, I don't know how much of that was your influence, but at one point, because I remember you were one of the first dudes that were like into E-Town Concrete and a lot of this heavier stuff, and like you had varied influences in Control because it was melodic stuff, really heavy stuff, the faster stuff. But what was it? You're the one that I feel like exposed a lot of us to a lot of that heavy stuff. How did you end up getting into this stuff? Was it when you guys all went to 25 to Life, and then you kind of
because I was a fan before that. So, we got into hardcore in the pre-internet era, but I did have AOL, and so AOL was like chat rooms, and you can talk to people. So that was like fun, and I learned stuff there. But yeah, mostly just I don't know. I got into like the heavy stuff, like. I never like had a style, right? Like, I've never been into like fashion, and I've never tried to be a part of something, especially because like, I don't know, straight edge hardcore is like one of my favorite musics ever, but like that's kind of fucked up because I'm turned off by it in general. Like, it's like a club, and it's like a bunch of people that kind of look the same, and I don't know, and you have to like know the secret handshake to be a cool guy. And all this, so like, I guess I never wanted to like be like in a mold, and so it's like I'm not gonna turn down shit. And also, back then you go to a record store, you don't have a lot of money, you take chances on stuff, and like whatever you buy, you're gonna try to like it. Now it's so opposite because now everything is at the tip of your fingers, that like you actually have to try to actively not like things because you don't have enough time in the day. Like, how can you fucking listen to every hardcore band on Spotify? Oh, yeah. Back then, you'd go and you'd buy 5 7-inches, and you would hope to like 3 of them. And even the ones you didn't like, you'd find parts of them. I mean, do you remember a perfect example is that band Lockjaw from Buffalo?
Of course.
Remember? Shout out Sweeper. But we didn't love that band. But like, it was a record we had, and
they had that one song,
and we found we found a part on a song that we're like, dude, that shit is fucking sick. We found some shit, and it's like it's the same thing. I mean, I guarantee that I probably bought the fucking 25 to Life demo 7-inch. Rick to Life's probably pressed fucking 50,000 of those. Like, like it's the easiest record in the world to find. If you don't have it, you can get it for $1 on Discogs. Like, and so it probably just crossed my path early, and it sounded like nothing else, and I was like, I fucking liked this. Like, I liked all that hard New York shit, and I also liked pop punk.
Yeah, that was the cool thing. It's like we had such a broad spectrum. I mean, we liked the Bullweavers, Lagwagon, 25 to Life, Hatebreed, Slayer. I mean, Iron Maiden. I mean, we had so much music that was out there that we all loved.
Waits.
Tom Waits.
Oh, yeah. And you like
Rain
a lot
Dogs
of hip-hop, too.
Yeah, I like a lot of hip hop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved A Tribe Called Quest, and I loved the NWA, the first record, Niggas with Attitude. I love that record. I think that record is actually a punk rock record.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just it was such a broad range. There was no limits to what we could listen to and like. And Zach used to always play.
So when you guys were going on, I'm always really interested in knowing like what you were listening to and what you were influenced by to create the records and the lyrics, because the lyrics, I mean, we'll get into that. And I love that.
I only write the shitty ones.
No, but I mean, I like that you always wrote about Oxnard and talked about it in imagery. And I don't know, I mean, I guess, yeah, I mean, that was part of our pedigree. But when you're going on the tours, what are you blasting? And I remember you guys used to have the website back in like 99, 2000, 2001.
Shout out GeoCities.
And you always had, dude. Yeah, that was so sick. Because I remember you guys all had your profiles.
Yeah.
And what you liked, your stats. Can you guys go into that? Because I feel people need to know about that, man. The Stoned Age.
Yeah, we're just trying to have fun, right? And it's like, try to let people get to know you. I mean, we don't know how to make a band connect with people. And we're just having fun, and we don't take ourselves that seriously. So yeah, we had like profiles up on our website, right? With like our favorite bands, our favorite pro wrestlers, favorite comic book, favorite fucking quote from the Stoned Age, you know, all that important shit. And I also used to do tour diaries. A lot of that's lost, but I actually was able to find. I sent it to you. I sent some to you.
I think I just had the shows.
No, it's on another attachment. You don't need to go through it now. No, I mean, we probably lost like half of it because I used to do like a show review, I think, of every show we played and put it on the website.
Like a big review, just like a couple.
Yeah, paragraph. Like, this band played, they were all right. Like, this band played, it was cool.
They were pretty okay.
Yeah, but I did a full diary of every single tour we ever did. And I think I salvaged like 80% of it. It's still like available. And I'll put it up on the internet soon again.
Who is your favorite pro wrestler? Come on, man.
Well, Hulk Hogan until he went white power. Now it's Bad News Allen because I want a black guy to kick Hulk Hogan's ass.
Ultimate Warrior.
He's the worst.
I can't even do it.
Rest in peace, Ultimate Warrior too.
I just like the way he shook the rings. That's all.
So then, when you guys were on tour and you were talking about the stories and the first tour, did you guys even have like a Walkman, like a tape or anything?
Oh yeah, we had a tape player. There was a tape player in the van, so that was one of the things that we had to prepare for, like before you leave for tour, is like put all your CDs, because back then it was like we'd moved past the cassette era. Everything was CD or vinyl, and actually vinyl wasn't super popular then. So you'd like record all your CDs or whatever down to fucking tape, and you know how many fucking tapes are you gonna buy? Yeah. You know, you gonna like they never got cheap. Right,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a blank tape. Like even if you bought a pack of 10, it was probably still $3 a tape, right?
Yeah,
some shit. And so like we'd buy like a pack of like 10 blank tapes, and I'd make some mixtapes, and then also just like some shit that I'd mix down. Like what were all of them? We listened to a lot of Swing and Utters. We listened to a lot of Blitz. That whole Blitz record was like the main one.
Rages in the Night. Yeah.
And I don't really remember. We just because like whatever it was, you got sick of it like 3 days in. You know what I mean?
On our second tour, I always had to do the night shifts, right? So I had to drive from midnight to 8 a.m. around there somewhere, and I would always like pick an Iron Maiden album because I knew that was 1 hour. You know, so I would play that album the entire. It was like, all right, I got through an hour. All right, I'm good. Everybody was snoring, sleeping, passed the fuck out. I think Albert was actually awake with me a lot of times.
Oh, Mosh Hard. Shout out to Albert.
Yeah.
That Brave New World record was out by then.
Yeah, I
that
think
was
it
a great driving record.
That came out 2000.
Yeah, Verbal Assault. Always.
Verbal Assault.
Outspoken.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
The Outspoken was great. Oh, I can still remember that song with the whales. There was so much stuff. Gosh, man, I wish I could. There was a tape that I used to always play, and it was actually a mixtape by Zach, but I can't remember the bands. I think it was.
Well, Stu has them all now. I gave Stu all my cassettes.
Oh, yeah, Stu told me about that.
Stu from San Diego or Santa Cruz? Wait.
Oxnard.
Stu from Oxnard.
Omega Plane.
Oh, Stu.
Yeah, Stu.
Oh,
Stu.
okay. I was thinking of Spencer, actually. I fucked that up. Sorry, guys. Sorry, I really fucked that up. I was like, Spence? No, I said Stu, idiot.
Yeah.
So then you guys just had this, and it's interesting because, like, you know, with all the kids that are still into Control, like, it's basically like legendary status here. I always find it interesting to get into the mind of like what did the band that I like, what were they listening to, what were they influenced by? And it's cool that you guys had this really diverse thing like going on. And like with regards to the lyrics, who wrote most of the lyrics? Was it?
I wrote the shitty ones. I wrote the shitty
He wrote
ones.
some okay songs. He wrote one song on the demo. We wrote the second, like we wrote the pro gay marriage song together. The last.
Basically, Zach would be like, "Look, what do you want to sing about?" And I'd give him an idea, and then he would construct these lyrics that were like, "Okay, that's fucking pretty good," because I couldn't put those words together like that.
Yeah.
But then he would have me sing them, and I was always off time. And he'd be like, "All right, dude, look, I gotta coach you through this shit." Like,
How was that for you, man? Because I know that was cool where you talked about a coach and you had that metaphor. Because I know when I did vocals in a band and it was like it got pretty brutal, but I get it now. I get it, right?
When you think about it, you think, "Okay, I want to be a singer for hardcore band. Oh, it's gonna be so easy." No, it's
Yeah.
not gonna be easy. It's gonna be fucking hard. It
hurts.
And it hurts really bad. Like I would drop to my knees in the studio, and Zach would be like, "Come on, you got this. You got it." And then he would never let me punch in ever. He would never let me punch in.
Damn.
Which is total bullshit because I punch in so hard on
Punches in
Retaliate.
all the fucking time, dude.
Dude, when I did the first Retaliate record,
man.
I was like, oh my god, I should let Ryan sock me because I'm punching in every fucking line.
If you don't know what punching in is, okay, like if you have to sing an entire verse.
Radio or podcast world.
Yeah, well, okay, here's what it was is when that stuff started happening, I hated how it sounded when like people they would let the sentence overlap.
Yeah.
And it was like
It was fake.
we were very about being able to do live whatever we did in the studio.
Yes.
So and to a stupid degree. Like I don't really believe that stuff anymore. But keep in mind, I mean, we're 20 years old when we recorded another year. So I don't know. I mean, I think you should just do whatever to make it sound good now.
Okay.
But like at the time, we're like, no, don't punch because it's not.
Listen to
how
the
it's gonna sound.
song "The Truth Hurts" on our second LP. Listen to that.
No, the other one's gnarlier, right? The black gold Achilles heel, so then we kill.
Okay, you listen to that song and imagine singing that straight through
Oh my god.
with no
man.
breaks, no nothing, and the headaches and the sweating. We weren't even drunk. We were sober when we did that shit. And I would fall to the ground. I'm like, "Zach," he's like, "Come on. You gotta do this. You could do this. You're a fucking pussy. Get on your feet. Let's do this."
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, bullshit.
Fuck. So this was the whole time with In Control, every
Yeah,
recording.
we did everything. If we're gonna play this in the studio, we're gonna play it live. Even though we only had one guitar player for a long time.
Yeah, so we didn't get to play all the pussy songs.
Yeah, we
usually.
never. Well, we did play Two Towers a lot. That was our ending song, of course. And we played Once Upon a Town in Iowa to a bunch of girls a cappella.
No, that's not what happened.
Yeah, we did.
No, I played
You played.
Two Towers.
No, you played Once Upon a Town. Because I
Girls?
remember I punched in. I was like, "Because you could take me out of this town." And then we.
Oh, they wanted to hear that song.
Yeah.
Yeah, those girls, they drove like, that's, okay. So they drove like 2 hours to see us play like this fucking garage show. Anyway, these girls come and they were just like, we really want to hear this,
Once Upon a Town.
the song. I was like, well, it's not on the set list. Like, we haven't practiced it, so we can't play it. But I was like, I'll tell you what, like, stick around and I'll do it for you after the show, you know?
So Zach goes, "Okay, I'll do it." So we get in the garage, and he thinks the 3 girls are going to come in, and then like 25 or 30 kids come in. He's
Yeah, like the whole
"Oh,
show comes
shit."
back. The whole show comes back, and I was like, oh, god damn it. Let's sing this shit.
In front of everybody?
Yeah.
With an acoustic
I did.
guitar.
But it's
Sick.
like, but whatever. I mean, like, if someone, I don't know, if someone drove that far and they wanted to hear a song,
That was
and
one of the highlights of that tour.
I can't deliver it to them. Like, I'm going to try to do my best to, whatever.
No, that was one of the highlights of the tour. To me, that was a great moment. It was killer. And everybody liked it. And
Yeah.
you nailed it, too.
Of course I nailed it. I fucking wrote it.
I wrote the fucking song. Damn it.
Nah, it was cool. Like, the Modern Life is War guys were supportive. Like, I saw them, like, kind of, like, mouthy in the lyrics, Like, that's cool.
So then as you guys, with the lyrics, what I always thought was cool is that, with the way it is now, it's like everybody's like hyper, like too serious about like the cancel culture and all that. But you guys had these really awesome, intelligent lyrics. But you guys were always really chill and like cool, like down to earth. Like, but when you get into the lyrics and about like the depth with a lot of the lyrics, what was it that kind of, I guess, what was it that made you? What are the topics that kind of inspired you? Because I even remember seeing you guys at the Ralph Nader thing, man. Like when he talked to Ventura College, you guys were there. So
We were there.
yeah, like so, you guys always had this kind of like critical insight. But
Well, no one would ever accuse Ingatro of being PC, but
No,
like,
we weren't.
But when it came,
Yeah, but that's
but
what
when
I
it,
mean, like-
but when it came time to like crafting art, like I take hardcore music seriously. Like some people, that's why I get so offended sometimes by like joke hardcore bands. It's like the people think this music is simple, or people think the music is silly, or whatever, and it's like it's not. There's a real art to it, and like there's a big gap between good hardcore bands and fucking shit hardcore bands. And so when it comes time to like lay our art down, we're gonna take it seriously, and that's from the music to the lyrics to the imagery, and you have to, like, if you're serious about your craft and it's not just for fun, and I'm envious of people that can do it just for fun, but that's not my DNA. Like it's
Nor me.
yeah, if you're gonna do something, you have to do it, right, Ryan? Like you talk about, you're not just gonna go surf, you're gonna go on the biggest wave.
I'm going to go hard, head first, everything I do.
Yeah.
Look, a lot of people that I've worked with in the past 20 years think that hardcore music is just noise. It isn't fucking noise. It's actually pretty fucking hard. Okay, it takes a lot of work.
Yes.
And we took it seriously, and you know what? I think that's why people still respect us to this day, because we didn't fuck around. Like, when we did something, we did it head first.
Yeah,
We
you
weren't
can listen,
afraid.
and it's like we also weren't like the most skilled band. I mean, I was never the best guitarist, and
I
Ryan
was, a
never the
terrible,
best.
I was a terrible singer.
Yeah, but it's like, but
the vocals, bro, they were
but
sick.
but we did the
Sick.
best. But we did the best. Like we took everything seriously and like gave it our all.
Yeah.
There was no shortcuts on anything.
That's why people respected us, because I think they realized, like, hey, these guys aren't fucking around.
Yeah.
With a song like Let It Be, like
Not to suck each other's dicks or nothing like that.
I mean, we can. I'm open.
Anyways, let it be.
so, like with Let It Be, what was it? Because I always thought, I mean, we used to sing these lyrics like going from Robert's house to like Danny's to Amici's and like getting pizza, and we used to like sing when that EP came out. We used to sing along, and it was like Javi, Milo, like a whole crew of people, Kyle, Beavis, like everybody. What was it that prompted that? That one I always thought was cool because you look at what's happening in Oxnard.
That's a very heartfelt song.
That's a very.
That's like local. Like we saw every farmland being urban sprawl, cultivated. I mean, dude,
We didn't want Oxnard to end up looking like Orange County. And it's like, and it's funny because like someone will pop up like, what's that shit called? The Collection.
Oh yeah.
And it's like everyone flocks to it, or like,
oh yeah, cool. More
or like,
urban sprawl.
like you guys
great.
get like a Buffalo Wild Wings. It's like, oh fuck yeah, Buffalo Wild Wings. It's like, god damn it, dude. Like support local business. You know.
We did that song in it was Public Stores at the time, but now it's Chain Reaction. And I was like, I don't want to see Oxnard become another fucking city in Orange County. And everybody booed me on stage. They're like, dude, boo, you fucking pussy.
No, but I
I'm
mean,
like, bro, I was just telling the truth. Like, I really told what I felt.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want to see another shopping mall, another movie theater, It's like, I want fields, I want farm, whatever.
What do you guys think about when you see now? Because I kind of get mad. But what do you guys think as like growing up here?
Well, it's
what you've
weird
done?
for me because I don't live here anymore. So when I come back, I mean, this year I've been coming a lot more, but the previous years, it's like I might just come for Christmas and like one Retaliate show. So it's like coming twice a year is weird coming in. And usually I like to come up the coast and cut through that way because I like to go through the fields and then like, cut to the boulevard and shit and like just see what's up with Oxnard. It's weird, man. Like there's massive changes all the time. I mean, Victoria is fucking almost undrivable now. Like, there's a signal every fucking 20 feet.
Yeah.
And the traffic is so bad.
Yeah, man.
It's just, what are you thinking?
But-
like, adding all those houses, like, where the...
There's nothing we can do to stop it.
No,
Yeah.
and who's to say that we should? And who's to say that if a farmer wants to sell his land after a lifetime of hard work that he shouldn't be able to?
No, I
But-
totally
but-
agree with that.
But for us at the time, it was like I don't know, you love your hometown for lots of reasons, and the farmland and like, Oxnard being like primarily Latino, these are all big parts of Oxnard. Like, I don't know, it's weird. And Oxnard's a crazy place, right? And so you don't want it to change because it's so special. It's like trashy beach dudes and Mexicans.
Yeah.
I mean, that's nard.
It's a sick mix.
And
man.
like,
Look at all the bands,
and like,
everybody.
it's like I don't want to turn into a bunch of fucking, like a bunch of Thousand Oaksters coming in because
I would never ever want to be a hipster or a yuppie or.
I don't want it to be yuppie,
I just don't.
But I don't even fucking live here anymore, so I got no say. I've been in San Diego. For 14
live
years.
here, and I see the changes. And you know what? It's kind of fucked up because I don't want
with your own two eyes, fields of green just fade away.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because I'm like, fuck. I think about that every time, man. Every time I drive around.
That's hilarious.
Let it be. And I'm thinking about that, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck, man? What's happening? What do you think, Ryan?
You know what the fucked up thing is I hate urban development or just building, but that's what I do. I'm a poor man. I work construction. I bleed. If I'm not bleeding, I'm not working. But this is what I do. I build custom homes and I build fucking structures. It's like, fuck. I wish this was still a broccoli field. Like, god damn it.
Yeah.
And we're just seeing it wither through our fingers. And there's nothing we can do about it.
What are other lyrics that you guys hold like really close to you guys? I know that.
I still sing the Two Towers to myself every night.
Dude. Yeah, no.
I have that song in my head over and over again. And it's the easiest song to play. It's just fucking, what, is it 3 chords?
Oh, so easy. Go write one. Go write it, stupid.
Hey, fucker. It's just a T formation, man. Upside down. Like I said, I still sing that song to myself every night.
What about Omega Point? What made you guys write the lyrics to that? I mean, it's obvious, right? But now that you see all this shit going on around the world, that it never really stops. What were things that kind of...
That's kind of similar.
That's the closest we ever got to a vegetarian song. Because I could never write. I could never write a proper one. There's like the great ones have already been written. Primarily shall be judged by God or by Burn. And Youth of the Day, No More. Perfect lyrical songs for vegetarianism. But I don't know. That stab at it was. I think it was just something like some environmentalists talking about like, oh, the rainforest is burning, this and that, and they were talking about like, some like, oh, that sucks. And I was saying like, man, no one talks about like all the fucking species that are being burnt up. Like that's insane. And then I don't know.
We didn't kill them all.
We only killed 99%. I don't know. It's just I don't know. That was like...
That song is an anti-imperialist song, right? Would you agree?
It's just being conscious about things that are happening to the environment.
Okay.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. I don't know. I can't remember the lyrics. What's the verse?
On, buddy.
What's the verse?
Humans aren't the only... Well, I remember the breakdown is a part.
Oh, yeah. That's a pro-animal song. Oh, fucking whatever. If people want to kill koalas, dude, that's fucked up. I don't think that's a koala.
I love koalas until they run and rip my throat out.
Little lizards. I don't know.
Nah, it's just that was a environmental, like socially conscious song, I guess. I mean, it was pretty good, man. The fucking lyrics were good.
No, the lyrics were dope, man. I mean, I'm very apocalyptic thinking, so when someone's talking about stuff, I always like all those lyrics were like so dope to me. Cause,
I think that song was about like trying to save as much as you can, but yet the music wants to make you destroy your fellow man.
The music makes you want to burn a forest.
I just want to fucking give this motherfucker a good helmet right in the ribs.
So as you
guys, what I love about hardcore. Anyways,
no, that's what I'm saying. Like as you guys like go into like this, what is it like when you're writing lyrics, Zach? How do you like sit down and what is the process that you go through when you're sitting down, and then as you're like getting coached? Because people don't understand, like you said, like the vocal delivery, and when you talked a lot about like the vision and how you wanted this to be, something that was your baby, how was that process with you and Ryan? Like when you're sitting down to do the lyrics?
Well, it was a struggle.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, I would never have Ryan sing something that he wouldn't stand behind, right? So
of course,
that is a huge limitation put on me, right? That like I'm writing knowing it is going through another vehicle, so that's compromise right there. As far as like, I don't know, I don't remember how I wrote songs. That shit like writing music and being an artist, I don't think it's about doing something. It's not like how Ryan's talking about, like how you frame a house. You can't just set out and do it. What you do is you figure out a way to like kind of channel things. Like you need to be like an open conduit to it. So you need to figure out how to get your mind in the right space to like let creativity throw through you. That's why, like, you know, great writers get writer's block. That's why a lot of the greatest music of all time was done under the influence of heavy drugs. Because these people, they get into that mindset and they are able to channel some shit through. Jimi Hendrix didn't sit down with a guitar on his knee and say, I'm going to fucking write this song.
Yeah.
Right? He was fucking somewhere in his brain and, like, something came through him. So almost all my stuff comes to me in the shower. And I don't know why. I think it's because the white noise and maybe like there's some sensations that are shut off. Like you're not really listening to anything. You're not really looking at anything.
But you always had a song in your head at all times, right?
Yeah. Maybe more so before than now. It's still really hard to write lyrics, man. I'm trying to write the new Retaliate record and a lot of it's really hard. Like I'll come up with like one really good verse and then like, you know, you got to have the next verse match it. You know, and it's like, fuck, how do I like write all this shit? And getting in that right mindset is hard. I don't know. Also, a lot of it is like, I think you bowl the best between like the third and fourth beer, and there's a little bit of that with writing too. Is like get a little inebriated, but not all the way.
And it's risky too. When you write something, you put yourself out for scrutiny. Mm-hmm. So if you put a song, let's say you write a punk rock song, and you put it out. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to hate you for it. A lot of people are going to like it. A lot of people are going to be like, that's fucking cheesy. You suck. You know, it's not an easy thing. I mean, that's difficult. And nobody thinks about that.
Yeah, you have to decide in your band how much you're going to want to put yourself out there, too, because it's so easy in hardcore to be like a fuck this, fuck that, fuck you band.
Yeah, stab song.
Right?
Lame.
Like, it's so easy, and you can do a good band like that, like an early 80s hardcore band, like, and fuck this, fuck the world, fuck everything. But to like be vulnerable in your lyrics it's a risk and it's scary.
I mean,
you know, writing.
No, it's
nerve
nerve-wracking,
until
actually.
it's gone. I mean, that song on the demo, Until It's Gone.
Yeah.
Example of vulnerability, you know?
Yeah, well, I think Two Towers is also, that's a straight depression song.
Yeah, no, it's fucked because I actually had to sing that song. And the entire time I was singing that song, I was always getting laid.
Yeah, I remember.
I was like, man, I always had a girlfriend, like, fuck. But I know what the song means. I've been there. I've been fucking really lonely. You know, that was pretty, that's still one of my favorite songs of all time.
No, same here, man. Like, what was it then because what's interesting is that, like, the other song that I always think about is Give Me Some Reality, right? Because I remember back then, and you always used to talk about this, Zach, like, hardcore, sadly, is like, there's been a lot of cliques, right? And then when we were like in a really aesthetic area like SoCal, like it's like you had the youth crew, you had the punk, you had this, you had the emo, because we were always close to all the emo thing in Isla Vista and the Heart Attack scene.
Yeah.
What was it that prompted you? I recall you kind of talking about it back then, but what was it that Give Me Some Reality was about? Because I think that's another cool song that's you kind of challenging that. What was like the kind of like the cool,
so positive.
the posy,
everything's
like,
so happy.
It was
No,
like
it's
that.
not.
It was like the because that shit was on its way out, right? But I didn't write that song knowing that like the next 5 years would turn into all the like just not caring lyrically at all music. So I don't know. I think that Give Me Some Reality was on the front end of the of like kind of saying the posy stuff is silly, but like. I don't know. I think I'd take the posy stuff over some of the neggy stuff.
No, I think you wrote that song meaning like, look, man, life is not always going to be happy. Okay, let's just accept it. This is the reality. And when that song came out, it was a big hit. Everybody liked it.
Yeah, that was.
And then the last couple of shows that we ever played, Zach's like, hey, man, do you just want to cut that song off the set list just to fuck with people?
Well, yeah. that's
It was the easiest.
That's one of the hardest things being in a band is finding the balance between what you want to play and what you want like and pleasing people that show up to see you.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a really fine balance because you don't want to be a slave to like people's like their needs, right? You want to have a little bit of like artistry in yourself. But
I agree.
But if you turn your back on the people that come and pay to see you, then they shouldn't come see you. You know, like.
But we always respected our audience.
Well, that's
Always.
why we always played that song.
Yeah.
Even if I didn't want to.
Yeah.
There's not a show we didn't play.
I really don't want to fucking play this song. There, we gotta do it. Come on,
I
everybody's
know. It's
here
like
to
we're gonna
see
play
us.
it. We're gonna play it. We're never not gonna play it. It's like the hit song. But
We played a show in Hyattsville, Maryland to one fucking guy. To
yeah.
one guy. And you know what? I think we played as hard that night as we played at Posse Numbers in front of 2,000 people.
well, we played the songs back to back too. I don't know if you remember this. So there was a band called Crispus Attucks.
Christmas Addicts.
I remember.
It was their house. They fucking forgot to flyer the show. So like it was like
That's punk rock
it was
for
like
you.
a Tuesday night or something, and like so there was no one there, and that was actually one of the guys from the band. He was walking from the backyard. You go through this little room, and then you go to the main house, and the show was in that little room. So right when he walked in, we started playing, so he was trapped. And it's like, well, fuck you. You got to watch our whole set. You know what I mean? Because, like, literally no one was going to watch us that night because even Fields of Fire wasn't in the room.
Yeah.
It was literally just that one guy, and we're like, we're going to do the whole set with no breaks.
But the funny thing is we played to that one guy, and I was more nervous at that show than I was at if I had 300 people watching us. It's like, oh, fuck, there's only one guy watching. Oh, I better not fuck this up.
Dude.
Can't fuck this up.
That's fucking
man.
sorry, dude. That, like... I've been letting that one go for like what is that?
I keep bringing it up to him too, like hey,
18 years now, dude. Do you know how shitty that is? That they fucking forgot to flyer that show. Like,
man.
dude, we're from so far away, and we're like in kind of adjacent scenes. Like they're more on that Life's Hall scene, but I know we've seen it before, and we had like mutual friends and
Yeah.
shit. And it's like for you to fucking forget, like we're 3,000 miles
Yeah,
from home.
across the
Like you're a fucking cocksucker, dude. You know.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No,
If there's anything wrong. Yeah,
No,
oh,
I'm just
God.
saying, like, that's so fucking lame.
I know.
And it's like, I don't know. I've let that one go for so long, and it's like, I think about it, and it's like, man, I should have been shit talking that band for 18 years now. You know? That's
I
so
always bring it
lame.
up to when he gets pissed off.
I mean, I get so mad about it. I've always, like, held that one down, and it's like, I think about it now sometimes, and I'm like, that is so fucked up. Like, these two touring California bands
that's
are out
fucked
there
up.
just to play a house show. Like, we and trust me, we do not expect the world.
No.
Just like, we just want you to put some flyers in a record store, and if 8 people show up, that's cool. Maybe we make a new friend.
Did you guys keep track, now that we're going back to that time, back then, and I guess a lot of kids don't know that, right now, I mean, I don't know, the internet and media, social media is totally changing hardcore and everything, right? But back then, fanzines were another place where you would send your records, and you would kind of get your band out
they get
there
a
to other
review.
ears.
Yeah.
Did you guys keep track of the reviews, Zach, when you would send them out, or you was just
Nah, I
whatever?
just send them. Because, like, if you do that, it's like, I already lost my fucking ass on putting out this record.
Yeah,
I'm not sending
yeah.
an extra $5 along with the record to have... The polite ones would, like, sometimes send you one.
I remember we got some good reviews.
Because I remember,
The
you
Lisa
getting good
Ogles,
reviews.
yeah, Lisa Oglesby from Heart Attack gave us like one of the most honest reviews we could have asked, which
Yeah.
is so nice because I don't know, we had some problems with people like thinking we weren't PC, and it's like,
Yeah,
dude,
I
look
remember
beyond
that.
like, look, dude, I didn't choose to fucking go bald, and so like, you know, people sometimes judge me by the way I look, like they think I'm fucking a knuckle.
What are you, a Nazi?
Yeah, they think I'm a knucklehead or something. It's like, no, dude, I just lost the battle, the follicle battle, so I shaved my head. I'm not going to lose the war and have a fucking comb over at 22. You know what I
gave
mean?
us a good review. She
Yeah,
had a
she
great
actually,
line.
she actually like listened to the record, and she's like, oh, these guys actually like have really like heartfelt lyrics and like this and that, and it's like
The grooves translate through the music.
yeah,
Something
and
like that.
something, and like other people, like I remember, like Max from Spaz, like he like reviewed us in ORR, and it's like, dude, these people don't understand how important reviews are to like young bands that are trying to gain a foothold, and you don't fucking know us. And like his shit was like, oh, I'm really disappointed because I like the 7-inch, but the LP is like really overproduced and like this and that. It's like, go fuck yourself, dude.
Oh, I remember
Like
that.
I
'Cause I used
said,
to read for
you know?
what you guys and whatever it takes when they send it to Heart Attack. I was like eager because it was like, well, what are they thinking about our bands? Because I remember I always felt, and Fred Hammer talked about this because it was we talked about why was it that this Santa Barbara scene, like, I don't know, man. I mean, I like a lot of those bands, and I don't want to talk mess, but there was like a lot of elitism And then whenever like you guys would send stuff to get reviewed or bands, I was like, oh, cool. I hope they get props because like they're representing, and nobody knows over there in Isla Vista and all that. I mean, what it's like wherever you are from Oxnard. If you're in Oxnard, it's just rougher than everywhere. Even from Santa Barbara to like the end of Ventura County, we're like the pariah of the county, you know. And like for you guys to kind of represent,
Maybe.
that's what I thought at the time. And like I remember seeing that review, Zach, and I was like, because I liked like Spaz and all those bands, and I was like, man, what the fuck? Why are you like kind of like hating, man?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It's like fuck you. Like our heart is in the right place, and we're just trying to go somewhere with this band. Like I can't put out the same record every time like you guys did. Like you're in a niche genre. You're obviously one of the best bands of the niche genre, and Spaz is a respectable band. I loved them. I went to their last show.
Yes, you did.
But
What was your favorite Spaz song?
I don't know.
Donger. Donger.
but yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was weak because it's like, dude, we're like fucking 2021. Like we're just trying to do the best we can, and like to take a swipe on production, like we don't fucking know what we're doing, stupid. Like we just went to a studio and like someone gave us money for the first time. I think Mandel gave us $1,000 to go record at Double Time, and we were just like, okay, this is where. I think Todd told you that Carry On. They went and demoed some stuff there.
Todd told us, he's like, go to Double Time, you'll like it.
And then
It's
Unbroken had been there, and I think Overnight Body had been there, and we're like, and there weren't a lot of like burgeoning studios. Now, Standard Ground had recorded with Paul Miner, but I think at that time Paul Miner was still full time with Death by Stereo because Paul Miner did the second record, but not the first one. And there just weren't a lot of options, and it's like, dude. I don't know. I mean, another year did not come out how I wanted it to. Neither did Truth Hurts.
No, Zach
but we
was
also didn't know what we were doing.
Zach's like, dude, he wants to know how we want to sound. It's like, okay. He's like, go in the van, get the One Life Crew Society record. And I was like, all I got is a hate, satisfaction, that's desire. He's like, all right, it's good enough. Let him listen to it. And that's how he wanted us to sound because that's all we gave him. And so it was just a big fucking, like he said, dude, we didn't know what we were doing. We had a good time.
No, we like I'm saying on all this stuff, like we were not the best at what we did, but we did our best with like what we had.
Yeah.
And so like when someone like that takes a weird stab like that, it's like, that's just silly, dude. And I heard that guy is like one of the most sensitive guys in the world too. So of course like from your fucking soapbox, like you fucking stabbing downward,
Man, that was whack. I remember that.
Yeah.
When you guys went into the speaking of like bands and the first tour which you mentioned in the first interview, well the one that you had with what was it, who was there, was it you and Stu was in the last one, right? And we were talking about the first In Control tour.
Me, Aaron Belchere.
Aaron.
So what was it like for when you talked about that summer, right? That was really brutal and like you didn't want to do that, that was not going to happen again. What was it like going into the second, right? Because you guys ended up doing the second tour.
Yeah, the next year we did it all in June.
And how
we did like 35, 40 days.
Well, we booked it around Posse numbers. Yeah. So if it was up to me, we would have just done spring and fall tours. But that year we had the opportunity to play Posse numbers in the year 2002. So I booked the whole thing basically. Like I never let anyone book us again because Fields of Fire, like they did an okay job, and like again they don't know what they're doing, so I can't judge them. But in the East Coast, we did a lot of like backtracking and overlapping, and it was like, man, we're not getting any money. We're getting like $20 a show, and like if there's $50 for the bands, we're splitting it with this other band. So like we're going out by ourselves because we're not big enough. This is like before package tours, so we're not going to go out with another band that's not significantly bigger than us. Like if we go out with a buddy band, we're just splitting the money, and we're not trying to make money, but we're also trying to not lose our ass, right? So I booked everything. We
didn't make any money.
No, I know, but we would have lost money if we would have been splitting that with another band. So yeah, we went out for 5 weeks, and the tour was like significantly better just because it made sense. Because I made sure we stopped everywhere along the way, so the drives are shorter. They make sense. We're going on the. There's some areas we never went to. Like we never went to Florida because you have to backtrack out of there. We never went to
Montana.
Yeah, you went to Montana?
No, we never went to Montana.
No, and we never went to
ABQ.
we never went to Albuquerque because like for Albuquerque you have to go like up off the main freeway and then go back to the main freeway, and it was like it's too much backtracking. If we can't like guarantee $100, then we can't do it. We actually were gonna finally play Albuquerque on the last tour, and the fucking kid, he canceled our show like 2 days before, and then like went and saw us play with Bane in fucking Arizona. He's like, well, at least I came to support this one. It's like, fool, you came to see Bane,
fucker.
You know,
it was
like
in Tucson.
Yeah, and so we had our second day of tour was fucking off. It's like, yeah, we played Tucson, then we had a day off. And it's like, fuck, dude. Like that's
what
why
do
we
we
never
do?
went to Albuquerque.
I think we played basketball that next day, and it was like 108 degrees outside.
What was the lineup on this tour? Was this Adam Lentz was on this?
No, he wasn't. He was the next year. This tour was Dave Priest. He was our bass player.
The guitarist from Die Hard Youth. What happened was, so in control we had Chris, then we had Micah, then we had Robert, and Robert went on the first tour, and then Robert quit after the tour, and then we got Jason.
Bryce?
Yeah. Jason,
Yeah.
Bryce, and Javi were in the band for a minute, and Javi was like too talented of a guy. Like,
So we kicked him out.
well, no, he was just like a guy.
Oh,
that,
you're
like,
too good.
He's like yeah. I mean, kind of like when he was young, he didn't know how to like dial it back, so he wanted to like be doing stuff all the time. It was hard for him to concentrate on like playing really kind of basic music. So I think that he like messed up at the first show, and we only had him in the band for one show, and then Jason stayed playing bass for maybe 10 shows or something.
Yeah.
But Jason, he was like really good friends with Javi, and I think that he didn't feel comfortable in our band once Javi wasn't there. Like his friend wasn't there anymore, so now he was just like a bass player in a band. And this is actually a story of Robert bailing us out big time, is because when Jason quit the band.
We had no bass player.
Yeah, we were going to play a show
Dead
with
Kennedys.
like the Brandon Cruz was singing for Dead Kennedys at in L.A. We go to pick up Jason on the way to the show, and he left a note on the door saying, "I'm not gonna play in the band anymore. I decided I don't want to be in it." And it's like, dude, we're picking you up on the way to the show
At the Key Club.
Yeah, and like there was like 800 or 1,000 people there that night, and so like we were like, what the fuck do we do? Like we're supposed to be in L.A. in 2 hours. And our bass player like quit with a note on his door. And so we went to fucking Robert's house, and we're like, "Hey, Robert, like you got to help us out, dude. You got to come play bass." And he's like, "Dude, I haven't played in like 6 months." It's like, whatever you remember, those are the songs
Robert's
we'll play.
like, look, I could play this song. We played 6 songs that night,
we just
plus
played
the
6
Ramones.
songs.
Shit.
We opened with the intro for Blitzkrieg brought for the Ramones.
Yeah,
and Robert's
that
like,
was
oh, I
pretty
can do
sick.
that.
Because that's all he could remember, and so we're like, "Fuck it, if that's all you got, that's what we'll play."
But we still showed up, and we still fucking played.
Yeah, so what happened was, then at that point we had no bass player, and then I think that was like the time when Albert was going to come in, and Albert was playing in a band called Within a Dream
yeah.
with Adam Hanlon and some other people, and they were like trying to be like I don't know, like one of those like metalcore bands that were like really talented and shit. And so we were like, fuck, if Albert's playing bass in this band, of course he could play it in Control. So he tried out for the band, and it like didn't work because he didn't know how to play bass. and we're like, oh my god, like it's like 2 weeks away, and we're going on tour for like fucking 5 weeks. Like I have no idea what we're gonna do. We don't have a fucking band, you know. And so like I think I begged Dave from Die Hard Youth to go. Like we'll give you per diem, like this and that, and come for free. And I think we put Die Hard Youth on the final week. Like they met us up in Texas.
Yeah.
And worked their way back with us.
Yep.
And so Dave from Die Hard Youth saved our fucking ass.
He was great, too.
Yeah. And that was the lineup: me, Ryan, Tony, and Dave.
Yeah, but
Long
Albert
answer to a
couldn't
short
play
question.
the bass, but he still went on tour with us.
The roadie, man, for life.
He's like, fuck it, I'm still going with you guys.
Well, he'd already dropped out of high school. He's like, I ain't got shit to do.
What were some other like memorable? Because as I was looking at the shows, I was like, man, I wanted to ask, but I don't want to be the one because I'm going to gravitate towards the combination of bands in here. But what out of these shows, what were ones that for you really like struck a chord that like you're going to take to your grave?
Every show that we played with Kill Your Idols was a fucking great time. Even if there was nobody there or whatever, those guys, those were great shows. I mean, they just killed it, and they didn't give a fuck how many people were there or whatever, and they were tight.
They're sick.
They were hardcore to the bone.
Blackout Records, right? Or OGs, yeah.
Yeah. They were an amazing band with like the right mentality. We were very lucky to cross paths with them, and they were the first band to ever give us an opportunity too off the demo.
Yes, that's true.
They contacted me off the demo and brought us up to NorCal before we even had a 7-inch out.
Who were other bands, Zach, and Ryan, that like when you put out stuff that showed you love that you remember? Because I think that was always important when you're trying to start something. You're a young cat in a hardcore band, and people kind of give you attention. Were there any bands that you remember? Fuck, this person was like. Besides like Kill Your Idols, like.
Yeah, well, I remember Mike Hartsfield and Rob Moran. Rob
yeah,
Hartsfield
they're
of
great.
Outspoken and Rob Moran of Unbroken, both being very supportive off the demo, and that felt really good because I respected both of them. As far as like other bands, Modern Life is War, like before they did anything. I think we played their second show ever, like their first real show.
And
they
they
played
were
a house
good.
show. They were so good
They
already.
were good.
But they brought us to like Marshalltown, and they ended up being like really close friends of ours that I still love and am in touch with to this day. And then also Holding On, they were another like band that we were.
Holding On was great.
We were very, very close with. Just
They were
like
super cool.
Yeah, a lot of kinship with them.
It's funny because I don't care about the fact that we played shows with Bane or Strike Anywhere or like Give Up the Ghost, whatever the fuck you want to call American Nightmare. I care about those little bands that really just, I don't know, they were just our friends, man. They were just fucking cool, down to earth, didn't care about being popular, nothing. Even though those bands that I just said are actually great bands, but
well, the Bane guys were really great too.
they were really cool. No, they were fucking great.
I remember.
I actually am a big fan of Bane, but I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Well, we didn't spend as much time with them. If we did, then we would have ended up liking them just as much because they're genuine, nice people.
No, they're super nice.
But and actually, Matt Pike. This is on our final U.S. tour. Matt Pike, who's a booker out of like the Boston area, he saved our ass. And again, this is a thing of like how we talked before about putting in the work. Like a lot of bands, like. Bane will book a tour and shit, and then other bands will be like, "Oh, that's funny. I booked a tour around the same time. Like, can I get on all those Bane shows?"
With you?
And so Matt Pike's like, "Dude, I've seen this fucking 50 times before, bitch." Like, no, But like, legitimately, like on our final tour, that happened to us. Like, I had our whole shit booked, and there ended up being like 4 or 5 shows where it's like, dude, I have to play Dallas that night, and then, like that night, like that was our Atlanta night. But there was enough deviation off, it's like because we played Tucson, but the next night we were going to play Albuquerque.
Yeah,
and they were going somewhere else, and then like it was like, oh, we had our own show in Alabama when they were playing somewhere else, and like it deviated off and on. But I had to ask Matt Pike, like, dude, like, can we get on these shows? And he was like, yeah, of course, no problem. Like again, it was like us putting in our work, so he knew I wasn't scamming him, and I wasn't. And again, that's someone like the Dave Hart thing, like he really saved our ass. And the Bane guys were great on that because we played like 5 shows with them, and it was cool because everyone on that tour didn't drink. And do you remember we played like
we were still sober.
We played like we played like Dallas or some shit with them, and like whatever club it was, dude, like backstage was like fucking a Motley Crue concert. Like there was just like buckets of beer everywhere, and not a single band on the show was drinking. We're like, what's up? I think the drummer of Bane drank. The drummer of Bane drank, but that's the only one.
I didn't drink because I knew that I had to drive that night. It's like, okay, I got to serve it.
Oh, dude.
I got this.
That was.
Fuck.
It was like
Disneyland. Of beer.
Yeah, and it was all like really good beer. I mean, that was.
Our last show with Bane on that tour was in Atlanta, I think.
Yeah.
And that was actually a really good show. There was like fucking 9 bands played that day.
Damn.
And it was fucking hot.
That was the day we went to
Abdullah the Butcher.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, we went to Abdullah the Butcher's restaurant. It was sick.
Okay, so we went to the greatest rib joint in the world, right?
Well, the funny thing is, we had 2 choices. It was really hard because we were like, do we want to go to the Jack Daniels factory or do we want to go to Abdullah Butcher's restaurant? And I was like, well, I don't think I'm ever going to go to Abdullah Butcher's restaurant again. Like, I might go to Jack Daniels at some point, So we went to Abdullah's. And yeah, he advertises on the top of the fucking. It's a converted house, and it's like
greatest barbecue ever.
Yeah, and it's ribs and Chinese food, and it just says greatest ribs in the world.
We walked in and he just knew, like he knew.
Well, because we're the only white people.
Yeah, we're the only white dudes in the whole joint, right? And that day he just put us all in headlocks, took pictures with us, and then I remember being in his joint, and I go, oh, somebody just got murdered on Commodore Street. Huh. Didn't we just pass That street?
Yeah, it's like the corner
It's like,
right there.
Holy shit! And then we saw like ambulances. Like, dude, somebody just got fucking murdered right there.
Yeah.
His restaurant was in the hood. But
Yep.
yeah, that show was great. And there was something weird that night too. Like I think the drummer of Bane, like didn't he go for a walk and then they couldn't find him? He was like gone
Yeah,
for a
he was-
long time.
That's right.
And they were like, "Oh shit! Like what happened to the drummer of Bane?" Like he got back like right before they played. Like they were looking for him and like getting worried, you know, like because he just wandered
Damn.
off.
He's done that too.
Well, I got lost.
What happened? When was this?
That was at night of that Crispus Attucks show.
Hyattsville, Maryland.
Yeah, it was just like some neighborhood, like you know, those neighborhoods is like, I don't know, they don't make sense. It's not a grid. It's like all the streets are curvy.
Yeah.
There's lots of stop signs and shit. And we got directions to like go to 7-Eleven, and we just walked for like, I don't know, we thought we were following directions. We couldn't find 7-Eleven. We're like, we should probably
It
go
was you
back.
and Robert.
Yeah, it was me and Robert, and we were like, we should probably go back. And we tried to go back and find the house, and we couldn't find it. And we were like lost in this neighborhood for like 2 hours.
And this is
No
before the
cell phones. No
Before cell
fucking-
phones and like, we didn't have anything.
Yeah.
We didn't have the address on us. The address is inside the van. You know, so it's like even if like someone was like, hey, like, what are you looking for? It's like, I don't know, the house we just played a show to a single fucking dickhead from Crispus Attucks that didn't bother to fucking promote the show. You know?
And he didn't even want to watch this. He just had to get caught.
Yeah.
Like, no, shit, I can't.
So
fuck, that's nuts, man.
that was fucking crazy. I think that we just ended up like, I think we sat down for a little while, you know, like on a lawn, and we're just like, I don't know, what do we do? Like, I
What
don't know
time
what
was
to
this
do.
at?
It wasn't
Oh, it
that
was-
late. It wasn't
It was
that late.
around like 11 o'clock at night.
Something like that.
Because I remember me and Aaron going, where the fuck is Zach and Robert? Like,
Yeah, we were gone for a long
What
time.
the fuck, dude?
Finally, like we were just walking and we heard the gate of the Fields of Fire U-Haul like a block over because it was late enough that it was totally silent, and then we heard like that sound of the sound of a U-Haul going up. And it's like, oh shit, it's like that direction, and then we were able to like find it.
That's fucking gnarly.
It was fucked up.
Is In Control, do you guys plan to like do, with bands kind of, and I think it's, I don't know, I don't know what you guys think about that, but a lot of bands that are playing again, where you guys plan to do shows again, or is that no?
Dude, I get that question
I know.
all the time. Like, I'm in a Narcore bowling league right now, and I get people that I don't even know that come up to me and go like, hey, when's the reunion show? Come on, tell me. It's like, dude, guys.
It's it, that's it?
The drummers in fucking San Francisco, the guitar players in fucking Long Beach, Zach lives in San Diego, I live in Oxnard.
Well, we're not a band.
We're not a band.
But not just for an
What's
event.
up?
And if we do
The
a
I mean,
reunion
what's
show,
the
people?
what's the event? What's the event?
are you going to pay me $2,000?
No, it's not about that. It's-
No, I don't care about the
Here's
money.
the thing: we did a reunion show, and we take like anything, we take it very seriously, and we practiced for like 3 months before
Yeah.
that show.
Every Wednesday
true.
night, we would drive to Irvine.
and that's
'cause
us
that was
driving to
fucking
Irvine.
nuts.
That was the center
from,
point.
Me from San Diego, and
me,
him from Nard.
Me and Matt from Oxnard, and we would meet in Irvine. So it's like, okay, every Wednesday, I'd go to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning, and then wake up at 5:30 to go to work. Right? It's not that fucking easy to do. It's like.
Plus, you're blowing a tank of gas on it every 2 weeks.
That's
So
brutal.
it all adds
I
up.
mean, don't get me wrong. If Zach said, "Hey, we're doing a reunion show next weekend," I'm like, "Okay, I'm in." But we can't just do that.
Yeah, but we
have to
because
practice.
Logistics.
Yeah, because we have to practice because again, we take it seriously, and I'm not gonna people hit me up all the time like, hey, you want to do a reunion for like a beer release show? Like, no, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Or like, hey, like we're like I don't know. I'm not gonna mention everyone, but it's like we're not a fucking band, dude. Like, do you
Yeah.
know how much work it takes to
No, people
to-
don't.
to
They
start?
don't.
But if we're not a band, to go from today to us being ready to play is so much work. It's not like, oh, it's just one night, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
it's
for
like
sure.
it's months of work. So anyway, we did the reunion show, and it got shut down. We only got to play 2 or 3 of our brackets out of 5 brackets, right?
We played 4 out of 5 brackets. We had
No,
to
we
cut
played
one
less
bracket.
than that.
No, we played 4. We had to cut out
No,
the
that's
4th
not true,
bracket.
Ryan. No,
I'm pretty sure.
No, okay. If we at the most we played 3 brackets, and then we played spot songs after that. It's like, oh, we got to play this song, this song, and this
so
song.
we played 3 out of 5, and then we still played
And we
a couple
played
of songs
2
after.
extra songs.
Yeah.
And so it was like, fuck, dude, we practiced 3 months for that. So then we played that unannounced Shea Cafe show.
Yeah.
Just because that's the tightest our band has ever been. So it's like we have to play this fucking set. And then we were gonna do it again for one of the I don't know. So Jeff was gonna have us on do something, right? And it got canceled like the day of.
Yeah.
So we did that free Camarillo show.
Yeah.
And it's just like
That was a
fuck.
blast.
And then it was cool, but it's like not everyone knew about it, and I want to be inclusive. Like,
Yeah.
for instance, this is not a knock, and Rob is one of my favorite people, but like Unbroken did like a reunion show at Chez Cafe, and the whole thing was like I don't know. I think they have like a limited amount of people that could like get in, but like the guest list was like 100 people or some shit. And I didn't want to ask to be on the guest list. I just wanted to show up and pay, you know. But like by the time I showed up to pay, like, you know, whoever was there, it's sold out. Like they were like really fucking rude to me, and I had to
like, really?
And I had to like find Spence. I was like, Spence, take my fucking $10. Like you know I'm getting in. You know, like what the fuck? Just because I didn't hit up someone to be on a guest list, like. Anyway, my point is, like, that's not how I want our stuff to be. Like, I want it to be all-inclusive. Like, I want everyone to know far in advance, and it's not going to sell out. And anyone that wants to be there can be there, right? So then we did that stupid Ventura theater show as, like, because after, like, that Camarillo show was like, oh, only if you knew about it. And it was, like, super last minute, so you had to know someone to tell you, you know? And that show, on its face, was amazing. I mean, there was, like, 400 fucking people with like an hour notice, you know, like,
oh yeah,
it was sick as fuck. But I want everyone I want the fucking, the kid with no friends that's a fan and listens in his house to be able to like figure out we're playing if we're going to do it. Right. So that's why we did that Ventura theater show. And we announced it like 4 months in advance. And it was like, okay, if you want to see us, like this is legitimately the last time.
We're really going to play this.
It's not going to sell out.
That was 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's not going to sell out. You know way in advance. So if you want to see it, you can come see it. And that's like a wrap. Because like, I don't know. I mean, look, Jeff Hershey is like one of the most reliable people there is. He's a fucking G, especially in like the promoting shit. And like his show fell through like the day of the show. Like, I don't know. I don't want to spend that much time of something that's going to fall through. Yeah. And there's no point for it anymore. Like, I don't know, like live in the now. Like there's plenty of good bands.
I got a funny story for you. 10 years ago in 2009 when we did that first reading show, Zach called me. He's like, all right, look, dude. The day before was a Friday. That was a Saturday. It was December 9th, 2000. No, it was December 5th, 2009. Okay. So the day before, he's like, hey,
Summer 12th, 1492.
It was December 5th, 2009. No, I'm talking about the
December
first...
17th,
Shut up. Let me
1987.
get to the story. So Zach goes, all right, look. Let's just play the beach cover the night before and don't tell anybody. And we were really going to do it like, fuck it, let's just play. We'll play to nobody. Just as like, it was almost like a practice session. But they didn't let us play because the neighbors were pissed off because they were so loud at night. But that would have been fucking rad to play at our local, it's, you know, it's some shitty small bar in Silver Strand. But to play at a bar to nobody, to maybe the bartender, like to 8 people, that would have
been sick.
That would have been like, this is fucking great.
That would have been a proper In Control reunion. Hey, if this many people liked us back then, we wouldn't have broken up, people.
Thanks a lot, bro.
Oh man! Besides the members of the band that you guys had, were there? I mean, it was pretty prolific because everybody, you're doing Retaliate and you're working on another album. How is that looking, Zach?
Well, the greatest band on earth is going to put out
Retaliate is the best.
Our 4th great album. I don't know. It's awesome. It's so fun. I've been playing with those guys forever. I mean, Retaliate is the final In Control lineup.
Retaliate is basically In Control without me. I mean, if you think about it, yeah, it is.
Well, we drop tuned, so like it was a different take on it. But yeah, I mean, like it carries on, and so whatever. I don't know. I love to do it. I can't stop. But Retaliate is not a full-time band or anything either. We play like twice a year. I just like to have it be a passion project, and those guys are some of my best friends, and I like to play music with them, and I love to see them, and every time I see them, it's like I'm so happy, you know. And I think that I don't know. I'm just very, very lucky to get to do a band like that, because I think that, you know, a lot of people like I mean, how it was with In Control, like your passion turns into like
your family.
Well, yeah. Well, I was gonna go. I was actually gonna say it turns into a burden.
As I said. Your family.
Oh my god.
No, but like, you know, like it turns into something that you have to do, and then it's like, well, if you're doing something because you have to do it, is it really like pure art anymore? And so like we get to do Retaliate fully on our terms, and I mean, there's not a show that goes by that I don't realize how lucky we are that we're able to like have a fan base with being so inactive. But you know, maybe the sincerity comes through as well.
Well, you earned it.
So yeah, being a long
man.
time involved, man.
You know,
I know you don't want to suck your own dick, but I'm just saying.
Even the podcast, man, it's still like
Yeah.
output.
yeah.
You
You sound like my wife, Zach. Like, hey, sweetie, you want to get laid? That's like something I have to do.
No, when in what aspect?
You said it was like a burden.
The band, In Control, was at the end for sure.
It was work.
Yeah.
It really was work.
Yeah, it was work, and it was hard to like not keep people together, and it's hard to line up.
I know.
It's hard to line up everyone's like wants and needs at the same time. I mean, like, think about it. Basically, the reason why In Control broke up was because we were gonna do a record on Reflections, and we were gonna go tour Europe.
Oh,
and
man.
the day that we were gonna fucking buy our airline tickets, our
drummer
drummer quit the band.
Yeah.
And like he's just like, well, I've already been to Europe before. I don't really care. And it's like we couldn't find anyone else. And I'm like, I can't fucking do this again. I can't like sit like, you know, we didn't have a lockout or nothing. We're like practicing in fucking our living rooms
In
and shit.
garages, yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, who's like, can we practice in your garage? Can we do this? It's like, I cannot fucking practice. I don't want to teach a new drummer how to play Give Me Some Reality in someone's fucking garage ever
Yeah.
again. I can't fucking do this again, you know? And it's like, and I'm going to have to go to like these guys that like, we're booking our European tour and we're going to put out a record and tell them that like, we have to cancel this, which means we're not going to get the opportunity again. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I don't ever want to burn people. And it was like, this is too much negative. And also, like that drummer, it's like, Paul.
He went
Like-
on a tour with us.
Well, yeah, I know. But he's a guy that I liked in real life. You know, it's like, this is a decent, normal dude, right? But I fucking hate him right now. And I want to fucking kill him. You know, like when he does that. And it's like, I don't want to feel this way towards people. You know, like I don't want to feel that way. Like same thing with who we say what was the bass player?
Lance.
Jason.
Jason,
yeah.
yeah, Jason.
Jason.
Note.
Yeah, when he quit like that, it's like, dude, I hate this motherfucker. like this guy's like a bitch. Like, how can you act like that? Like that's so fucking bitch made. Like quitting with a fucking note on your door. But at the end of the day, it's like Jason's he was a nice kid, and I liked that kid. And so I'm in the scenario of a band where I'm like I'm not having to, but I can't help myself from hating all these different people that I wouldn't hate. And like, so that's so fucking negative. Like you have to remove yourself from those scenarios.
That goes back to your point. When you're in a band with people, it doesn't become fun anymore. Now it's like
a relationship.
It's like, oh, we're gonna start a band. It's gonna be fun. No, now it's work. And now, like, me and Zach used to hate each other. Obviously, we loved each other the entire time. But
Yeah.
when you butt heads, it's like, fuck, dude.
And then you have a
This is
vision, like you
fucking
said,
hard.
you're taking it serious. It's not just
Yeah.
bullshitting. Like,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
this
we have something that
direction.
matters.
Yeah.
It's basically like me and Ryan have a child together, right?
Yeah, it is. It is.
You know, and like we never really wanted different directions for it. I don't think.
No.
But
Like I said,
we
if
do
you
have
wanted
different
to do a reunion
styles.
show tomorrow, I would say, okay, I'm in.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna say no, but
But it's like there's no point.
yeah.
I don't like for what? For fun?
Yeah, yeah.
I got
Like-
to sing a song a couple months ago for it was a Dead Heat. No, it was Omega Point.
Yeah, I think I.
They played Hard Hometown Pride, and that was a fucking blast. And I just
Yeah.
sang one song, and the next day I couldn't turn my head. My neck was so sore. It's like, holy fuck! I just sang one fucking song and I can't even move. Like, nah.
You haven't done any projects, Ryan? Anything like?
No.
just to-
I'm too fucking busy, man. I'm retired.
That's.
It just.
But now's the time. Someone should put
There's
together a band.
I wish somebody would have loved us as much then as they do now, because if they loved us then, we could have got another drummer to go to fucking Europe. Fuck!
I know. That would have been really. That was like a big goal that we didn't get to do.
Yeah.
And it was a bummer.
I've never left the continent. I've never been to Europe. I've never been to South America. I've only been to Canada, Mexico, and USA. But if we would have went to Europe, not only were we going to Europe, but we were gonna like make enough money to get gas to go to the next city. It's like, fuck, that's fucking kind of a dream.
Damn,
you
that
know?
would have been sick.
Most people go to Europe, it's always vacation, we're gonna spend thousands of dollars, but we're gonna experience all these things. We had a job to do. And I can't explain it to people. It's like, oh man, it hurts so bad. But whatever. Can't change the past.
And what are like some final thoughts as you think about like In Control, like, and what it meant? Is there anything else that kind of you want to say? Because I think what I wanted to ask was like kind of those introspective questions. Because I think like a lot of the stories came out in the first part of it.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about like the lyrics and what it meant. Because I mean, for me, that was what resonated, man. Those lyrics, like thinking about it, singing them with friends, like growing up, Milo, Danny, all these dudes, Javi, like I was like, well, I want to get into that, like that stuff that drove you. So what are some things that you kind of leave with when you think about it, control it, but then linking it to the present, Zach? Because I feel like I never thought about it, what you've been saying, like thinking about what that meant, but then where Oxnard is now and like the potential for like more creativity and more bands and more art. How do you link those together?
If I have to say this honestly, I did love the music. I love the lyrics. I love the work that we did. But what I really loved the most was meeting all the people that we met. And I don't know, man. It's kind of hard.
Ryan misses Dave Bird. That's all it boils down to.
I love Dave Bird! Hey, I fucking picked that guy up and slammed him on the ground pretty hard. And then he speared me in the chest the next song.
Shit.
Yeah.
But I just loved all the friends that we gathered and made. Yeah, it was just good times. But I did love Dave Bird.
We did our piece. Like we started like I said, the scene was like down. We put out a demo. We put out a self-release demo, self-release 7-inch. We went on a good independent label with Dave Mandel, who's one of the most awesome dudes. We never fucking took his money for granted. We never, did anything negative. Like, we always tried to represent ourselves properly. We put this shit back on the map for, like, our little piece of time, which it was the 5 years, and it carried on after that. And there's lots of bands, like, we filled our gap and we did our part. And, like, Nard right now is better than ever, and it's been 15 years since we've been a band. So,
damn.
Like, there's like, it's firing on all levels, from like the youngest kids to like, fucking Tony's doing a creative band, like the Robot Uprising, so it's like you're all across the spectrum, like shit is firing. Like we did our piece. I hope that we influence people to take, to put Nard on the map is like, a significant area for punk and hardcore, and to show people that like take the the little bit of talent you have and take your art seriously and push the boundaries a little bit, like, and take risks and put yourself out there. That's what I would like people to notice. But we had our time. There's no need to do a reunion. There's fucking Civil Conflict, right? There's fucking Dead Heat.
Dead Heat.
There's Omega Point. There's like a million bands going right now. Like, fucking love them, like, because everyone's gonna get nostalgic once they're gone, and so like live in the present and respect the bands that are around, buy that fucking Fourth Retaliate record, but
oh, but anyways,
but no, I mean, like, just appreciate what's going on, because when it's not there, then you can be like, oh, when are you doing a reunion show? Like, oh, that sucks that Dead Heat broke up. Like, we just appreciate the things that are going on.
enjoy your life while you have it, man.
Yeah.
Seriously. And you know what? All the shows that we played, if people didn't like us, and I heard people talk shit about us, and I'd be like, you know what? I pat myself on the back, and I just walk away. It's all good. It's no hard feelings.
Hats off to the jockers and the haters.
That's right.
No, I have no problem with that. It's all good.
Man, that's the fucking jam right there, man.
No.
Shit.
That was one of the first songs Zach and Tony wrote together
dude.
for In Control. Obviously not the first songs where they were in Voice of Defiance.
Shit, see, now I want to keep on because now I'm thinking about the anthemic songs, man. Like, which is another badass, like, thing that you guys did.
Which one?
Well, like that song, like
Crash and Burn?
A big fuck you.
No, that was Fuel the Fire.
Yeah, Feel the Fire.
Okay.
Oh, dude, that anthemic shit was like, that song. Oh, dude. And then obviously Nartro, like another anthemic song. But yeah, that lyric, man, hats off. Who was that? Who was the responsible for that?
Of course,
hats off
wrote
to the
that.
jockers and the haters, man.
I think I wrote all the lyrics on the 7-inch.
Yeah, I think he did. No, there was one lyric that I wrote. And it was pretty shitty.
What?
It was for Let It Be. God damn it. The fuck? It was the first line of the second verse.
How many of you took the time to vote?
You didn't write that, fool. I wrote that.
I did.
I wrote that.
I fucking told you to write that.
How many of you took the time to vote?
Yeah, I know. No.
Yeah.
I took the time to vote. Oh, what was the... No, dude, I'm telling you.
I wrote that whole song for sure.
I know, but I told you, like, hey, this is the song I want to talk about. I don't know. Whatever. Edit this
Hey,
part out.
Fuck it. You can Ryan, you can have it.
No, man, I'm telling you, I had something to do with that fucking song.
That's cool. We probably wrote it together. We probably wrote the same verse together. How many of you took the time to vote? We have the power to take the time. That's what you wrote. You wrote, take the time to persuade family and friends. That's a good fucking line. That's a good fucking line.
Zach, don't rob me of this. Come on, I know I did something.
Dude, that's a good fucking line. Because that's what it is. Like, we're fucking a bunch of 20-year-olds. We're talking about local politics. I mean, that is how you change it. That's the grassroots. That's knocking on doors and, like, convincing people on how to, like, be on the righteous side of history. You know?
Man,
so,
at least you didn't have your lyrics totally rewritten. That happened to me. Yeah. I'm not gonna say who, man.
Hey, man. 2 years ago, me and my wife on our anniversary. Okay, we're going skydiving. You know, it's like fuck it, we're doing it. We got to do this. We went 10,000 feet up in the air. We flew out of Camarillo and went to basically the rudder room in Holly Beach, and then came back to Somas. And I looked at the entire Ventura County plain. There's actually still a lot of fucking farmland. I mean, there's like a lot of farmland. It's like, oh fuck. Like, this is still a great place to live.
they heard the song and they're like, oh shit, we should.
We should take this.
We should do that. Let it be. We should do that.
Let it be, man.
Let it be.
Oh, by the way, that was the scariest fucking thing I've ever done in my life.
That was like the ultimate stage dive then, huh? Yeah.
That was probably one of the best I've ever done. Even though I had to get strapped in next to a guy. I was like, hey, man, don't sport any wood, all right, when I sit my butt on your lap. He's like, hey, bro, I think I'll fucking manage, okay? You ain't that good looking.
Man, well, just fucking thank you, man. Because, I mean, again, I know nostalgia, right? It's bullshit because you're right, the present. But, man, I mean, again, that's just like a... I mean, I
can't talk too much shit on nostalgia. I mean, like, we took the logo of Stalag. Our whole band was referential.
Yeah.
But just those memories, man, walking from Robert's house to Amici's, like, it was just like a movie, man. I know that's one thing Milo and I talked a few days ago. Shout out to Milo in Utah, Quiros. And we were just like, man, like, we were all very lucky, like, to grow up like this and then like have that time and have you guys that, like, you know, we didn't have Stalag, we didn't have Dr. No, but we had you guys. So then for us that were like in that era, like in high school, we would go and hang out. We were like the hardcore kids at that time, like in 2000. It was like, man, dude, just like walking from Amici's, like fucking around to Robert's house down the train tracks, singing in control lyrics. Like,
well, didn't Robert
You weren't lucky enough as Ryan and Jeff Hershey for having someone give you the What Happens Next on cassette tape.
Dude, my best friend's brother brought the Incontrol review tape. It's like, no, it was my brother's best friend, you asshole. That was my story because it's true.
oh my god.
I could go on forever.
Oh,
and
I know,
everybody
man.
says, oh, remember when's the lowest point of conversation? No, it's not. It's like my favorite. I love nostalgia. I love thinking back at what we did and what we were all a part of. I think it's great.
Anything else you guys want to add?
Oh, I could go on to every single one of these shows I could talk about for about a half hour.
I mean, I want to know justice, man. Product and Control, Life's Hot, Die Hard Youth.
Was that at the Bakersfield?
Jerry's Pizza.
It was Jerry's Pizza?
Like, I didn't see. I was like,
Dude,
shit.
we played for 11 minutes that night.
What
like,
the fuck?
I
We
actually
have the
timed
tape.
it.
We have the tape.
I have the tape. We played for 11 minutes. And we had I think 3 brackets of 3 songs, and we were played way faster than we usually played. We played for 11 minutes. I timed it. No Justice was great. Life's Halt was great that night. Die Hard Youth was. They're our brother band. I mean, if you think about it,
They were great. Shout out.
We played for 11 minutes, and that's a set. Are you kidding me?
That's insane. That's a short ass set, man. Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, "Fuck, that's a fucking badass lineup." Product from Italy, too. Now, what about the Last No Reply show? What do you guys
where you have the PCH?
You're all in the picture in the back of the 7-inch for that limited edition. Yeah, that was another.
That shit was great.
You did the trumpet for Life's Halt, right?
The what?
You did the trumpet
that
for
was
Life's Halt.
Last show, yeah. I did taps. And I fucked up on the first note.
I remember that. I remember that show.
And I did it in the key of A instead of the key of C. So I was totally wrong. But I fucked up in the first second, but then I nailed the end of it. But I look back, I'm like, ooh, I could play that so much better now.
It's that A for effort, dude.
What about
there was a couple people that were fucking stoked on that.
Oh, yeah.
There was people like, dude, that was fucking...
Well, that was true respect, right?
Yep.
What about the Intense Energy EP? Do you guys have the rest of that tape?
Oh, I still got the pictures all the time.
Because there was more...
Well, I had it at some point.
Name all 6 bands without looking at the list.
It was Over My
You guys
Dead
want
Body,
to let Brian
In
in?
Control, Life's Halt.
In Control,
Can you let Brian in?
In Control, Fields of Fire.
Fields of Fire,
and
Life's
then Ben
Halt.
Edge got mad because someone staged Dove Feet first, and it comes out on the
I can't remember. There was 6 bands.
Die Hard Youth.
It's all the bands. It was just
all of us.
It was 6 bands. Whoever was on the 7-inch was on the show.
Come on in, bro.
And they all did.
Oh shit! What's up?
They all.
So are we gonna end it on that?
Yeah, soon on that.
All right, cool.
Zach's like, dude, really.
Thank you.
You did a good job.
No.
Yeah,
you
good
guys
job. Thank you,
fucking-
Fernando.
I wanted to get introspective because you guys matter. So
I could talk
Yeah.
way more. I could talk for like 4 more hours, but
Oh, me too, man. I wanted
All
to
right.
go
Well,
one by one.
tomorrow at 2 p.m.
part 2. Or no, it's part 3 actually.